another episode of Picture This, your guide to photography. I'm Shenwa Kisomi, and today's episode is dedicated to all the new photographers that have decided one way or the other to be an assistant to a present professional photographer. That means you've decided to be an apprentice or to be an intern under a photographer that you respect. I feel that there are some rules that we all need to be aware of so that none of us is defaulting on what we don't know about. First of all, I need to mention that if you've decided to be an apprentice under a professional photographer, you should consider spending a minimum of 3 to 6 months. This should be enough time for you to learn at least the basics and hopefully give you a good foundation for your own photography business. So once you've chosen the particular photographer that you want to work with, it's important you meet with this person and discuss all the possible rules that the photographer has. Sometimes it might seem as if they have funny rules. Don't blame them. It's based on the experiences that they've gotten. That's why they have certain standards and rules that has worked for them. For example, one of the rules we have at Hello Photos is the fact that we actually don't have any public holidays. Now, for some apprentices that we've worked with in time past, this was something that really hurt them because they felt, Christmas Day, shouldn't I be with my family? It's just a rule that, I feel okay with. For the Christmas Day celebration, we choose maybe another day to celebrate it because we have jobs on Christmas Day. We have family portraits, clients we have to attend to, we have weddings. I remember the last Christmas 2010, there was a wedding on Christmas Day. On New Year's Day, there is a family portrait we have to, cover, and I can't be telling these clients that are ready to pay me a certain amount that, sorry, I don't work on New Year's Day. So that is like a standard rule for us. So if you are coming to Hello Photos and you feel, that's too strict, I must spend my New Year's Day with my family, that might not be too well with me. Okay, so there are some other funny rules. I know some photographers, for example, that tell intending apprentices that if you don't have your camera, they can't work with you. I don't blame them. It's because they've dealt with previous apprentices that have destroyed in one way or the other their cameras. So now they are thinking, look, I can never give my camera to somebody that is just starting out. If they are coming on board, they better bring their own camera. Okay, so make sure you know all these rules and decide to follow them to the letter. Okay, here's another tip. You need to be conscious of how you talk about your new mentor. There are a lot of photographers that are working as apprentices under a professional photographer, and one thing you need to know up front now, there is no photographer, in fact there is no person that is perfect. A lot of us, we have flaws and issues that we are still dealing with. You might have a professional photographer that has a temper problem. You need to be conscious of how you discuss the weaknesses of this particular new boss of yours with others. The reason why you need to be conscious of this is because one day you are going to start your own business, and to a large extent, the seeds that you sow when you were an apprentice, you definitely will reap when you become the boss of fellow apprentices. So just be very conscious of how you talk about your boss. If there are ways you feel you could address issues with him or her, talk with them and not with outsiders. Okay, the next tip that I have is one that I feel is one of the most important, and many photographers that I know don't even know about this, but if you are covering an assignment, a photography assignment, with or for your boss, your new boss that is a professional photographer, all the copyrights and all the rights of the pictures that you've taken, even though it is with your camera. All the rights belong to that particular photographer. This might be really difficult to take in because a lot of us are thinking, wow, I'm covering this event with maybe Mr. Sheon or Mr. Kelechi. These pictures that I take, I will be able to use them on my website also. That is actually not right. If I have a wedding and I'm calling you to come and assist me, all the pictures that you take, even though you use your camera, belongs to me, especially if I'm paying you for it. Okay, so you really need to be conscious of this rule, because many photographers, the reason why they don't call assistants is because of this very issue. There's been many scenarios in which the photographer hired an assistant or had an apprentice in which when they went to cover the job, before you knew it, a few days later, the assistant had the picture on his own website. That is very wrong. Okay, so if you've done it before, please don't do it again. A good example would be a recent event that I covered for a colleague of mine. It was a Christmas carol during the last Christmas, and when I got to the event, I was a little angry that I wouldn't be able to use these pictures, because present at the Christmas carol was one of the ex-presidents of Nigeria, President Gowon. And the pictures I got that night were wonderful pictures that I so much yearned to put on my blog and on our website, but I was covering this particular event for my colleague, and it was something he contracted out to me. I knew the rule, he knew the rule, and it was something which I couldn't use the pictures. It was painful, but I didn't have a choice. I eventually gave him all the pictures. Okay, so be conscious of abiding by this particular rule. At this junction, we've come to the point where we'll be featuring our photographer of the week. Let us know if there's any photographer you'd like to recommend for us to feature on this show, and we'll get back to you and see what we can do, especially if they meet our criteria. Stay tuned for the photographer of the week.
I worked with an NGO that was working on HIV and AIDS. Our major focus then was treatment and education. I enjoyed my job, and it was filled with fun. And I remember even along the process, when we go on programs, I happen to handle the camera and take pictures that we use for our reports. And when it was time to go, I left. And after leaving, I asked myself, Sammy, what next? One thing I knew I wasn't going to do was pick up another paid job. So I knew it boiled down to using one of my passions to earn a living. And finally I decided it would be photography. Before then I was just an hobbyist. I love pictures, I love taking pictures, but after deciding photography will be it for me, I knew the knowledge of photography I had then just wasn't enough for me to come ask you to pay me the hundreds of thousands for covering your wedding or doing you a family portrait. So I knew I needed training. And I started asking around for where to train. I remember I was in church this Sunday, and when looking at the bulletin, I saw an announcement for a skill acquisition program, the Daystar Skill Acquisition Program. And luckily enough, photography was one of the skills to be acquired. So I put in an application, and I was among the few that were chosen, and that opened my eyes to the real world of photography that I didn't know before then. And There I met people like Sifre Abayomi, I met Shola Nimashang, I met Damilola Elliott, I met Shegun Adebiyi, I met my coach Sheun Akisomi, I met the effervescent Leke Adenuga, I met Makati, I met a whole lot of guys, and you know, these guys, they kept on saying one thing, I'm a professional photographer. So there I told myself, Sammy, you didn't make the wrong choice. You are in the right place. And you know, after the skill acquisition program, which lasted for just 2 weeks, you know, 2 weeks was not enough to train me to come cover your wedding and make you pay me what I would ask for. So I knew I needed an extra training. So I was also lucky enough to win a scholarship, which afforded me the opportunity to go on an apprenticeship program with Ilo Photos, and the apprenticeship program was wow. I tell the trainees at Ilo Photos right now that their boss, my coach, is a very good bad guy. Because I remember a few days after resuming for the apprenticeship, station called myself and some other few of my colleagues, and he told us, hey guys, there is a wedding next tomorrow and you guys are going to be covering that wedding. So pick up the camera you want to use and go practice with it. Take the pictures of everything, anything and everything available within the compound. And you know, we took the pictures. And at that wedding coverage, I had my first baptism of fire. While in an attempt to get an aerial shot of the groom coming into the ceremony, you know, I stepped on. I missed my step, and some way somehow my trouser torn. And I went to meet Mr. Sean. Sir, my trouser is torn. And he was like, yeah, go on and cover. So I have to shoot for like the next 3 hours with my trouser torn. You know, it got to a point I just, I didn't even carry on the consciousness of my torn trouser. And that was it for me. From then on, you know, I kept on enjoying what I was doing more and more, just like I was enjoying my job that I left. And you know, the more knowledge I got about photography, the more it seals the fact that, hey Sammy, this is where you belong. And after the expiration of the 6 months apprenticeship program, which was eye-opening, you know, by then I had learned a whole lot. Well, I'm still learning, but I had learned a whole lot, and spoke with Mr. Sean, and you know, he's this guy that he lets it all out. He doesn't believe there is an information to be kept, you know. So he guided myself and my other colleagues to starting out. So under his tutelage, I founded Living Memories Photography, where I'm now the lead photographer. It's been, it's been, okay, it's been good, it's been gracious, and it's also been ugly, you know. I've had times that I would just stay at home and I would be like, I remember one day I woke up in the morning, opened up my system, and I just asked myself, so Sammy, are you sure you're not going to get like some sort of job to support this your photography career, so that you won't get frustrated somehow? But you know, I told myself, times like this is when I need to put my feet down. And you know, it was that day I now went out, and on getting to a complex, it just dawned on me that, hey Sammy, hold an exhibition here. And I came to meet Mr. Shon. I told him, Mr. Shon, I want to do an exhibition. And he said, "Yeah, go ahead and plan." So I started planning. The money was not there. By the way, I don't have my own camera. You know, this is the guy that still rents camera to work, and he's dreaming on an exhibition. I don't even have pictures to roll that exhibition with, you know, and some way, somehow, things just started happening, and I got some events where I got some pictures, where I got the pictures I used for the exhibition, and you know, 2 days to the exhibition, a day to the exhibition was when I got money for the exhibition. So photography for me has been a learning curve. I learn every job, every event I covered. You know, just some few days back, I was covering the 5-year-old birthday, and okay, in the family there were 3 that their birthday fell on the same day. 3 cousins. You know, you had one that was 5 years old, you had another that was 4 years old, and another that was 3 years old. And you know the funniest part, these 3 lovely pretty girls, I want to get a shot of them together, trying to get them smile. Per time I succeeded in getting maximum of 2 to smile, and the 3rd one will be doing something very funny, maybe like as far as crying, frowning, you know. And I had to call on their mother, and their mother was trying to like spank them to take pictures. I knew she wasn't helping matters, so I had to send her out of the room, and I just told her, hey, just leave me with the kids, don't worry, we'll walk around something. And you know, I resorted to taking their pictures individually. You know, at that point I knew the only thing that will make me get my balance is getting great pictures of these girls. And you know, I just had to do something. You know, I started reading poems for them, started doing, you know, getting them, the youngest among them, I started making her read A for Apple, you know, just started doing things that will interest kids. And because for me, that was the first time I'll have to encounter 3 kids, 3 girls at the same time, 3 children at the same time, you know. It's always been like 1. I've not even done 2, but this time I had 3. And so that's where I learned something new in that shoot, and you know, that's how it's been for me. One of the things I've learned the most in photography is in relating with people, you know. Even when people are angry, you want to get their pictures smiling, you know. So I've learned a whole lot about relating with people, and every day I make sure I learn something new about photography, either through my editing or reading blogs. I read blogs a lot, you know, or just reading of something about photography on the internet. Maybe it's learn something new about camera use, about editing, about the business of photography, about my pricing, about negotiating, you know, about packaging my albums and all that. All in all, photography has been fun.
So that's it for today's episode of Picture This. I want you to write to us and let us know what you think at picturethis@edophotos.com. If you have any questions whatsoever, as long as it is photography related, write us and let us know, and we'll try to address it on here as much as possible. If you like what you've seen, like the show, subscribe to the channel, share it with your Facebook friends and Twitter friends, and hopefully before you know it, the gospel of photography will be preached across Africa. Thanks for your time. Until we meet again on this same channel and same time, stay tuned and keep taking those pictures.